If I never believed they were running scared, I'm going to believe it now. Lindsey Graham passes away. And what do? They just pull his little sister off her little cloud over there minding her business at her house and say, hey, you're going to take this job. And what did she do? She says yes. How much did they have to give her? What was the bribe? What did they do? Because she has no clue. She's never held office, don't know nothing about the government except for what she's learned through her brother. They're going to sit her down at a desk that's real nice and shiny and pretty and give her some markers and tell her to check this and check that. They're going to tell her to sign here and sign there so that they can get the votes they need. She's going to help them to make the decision. Mitch McConnell, I don't know what they pumped him full of, but now he didn't all of a sudden woke up out of his coma. And he's in rehabilitation. Just so that he can come in there and vote. This is absolutely bonkers that they are able to do this, and yes, they can. But there were other people you could have chosen that were in government. But to choose his sister because you felt that this would be the noble thing to do, and this is what you would think he would want. This woman has no idea what she's getting herself into, or maybe she does. And the money was just super, super good.
DEI was never really about diversity. It was a word they weaponized, a dog whistle dressed up as policy critique aimed at making you believe that every black doctor, black executive, black pilot, and every black senator got there because of a handout due to the color of our skin instead of merit. They wanted you to picture unqualified black people cutting the line. That's the story. That's always been the story.
We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military.
But white people have always been the ones to benefit the most from DEI, nepotism, and cutting the line when it suits them. People like RFK Jr. cannot be a doctor and become the health secretary just based off his name. And people like Pete Hegseth can be a literal alcoholic and a drunk and be in charge of the military and has never served. Lindsey Graham dies on Saturday. By Monday, his sister, Darlene Graham Norton, is standing in Columbia, South Carolina, about to be sworn in as United States Senator.
Today, under the law, it's my duty and honor to name someone to serve in the place of this irresistible man, this irreplaceable man.
First, I just want to say one thing I've never heard Lindsey described as is irresistible. So now to Lindsey, I miss you more than I can even put into words. But I'm going to do this. I got it.
What do you mean by that?
Darlene Graham Norton has never held elected office. She has never run a campaign. She was a private citizen 72 hours ago, and now she's writing federal law. Not because of a track record, not because of a primary, but because of a last name and a president's recommendation on Truth Social. And none of them are mad about it. They are all saying this is a great idea. Trump didn't hide it either. He said the quiet part out loud. He called it a fabulous tribute to Lindsey. A tribute. That's the qualification. Grief and bloodline. Tim Scott backed her before she'd even accepted, saying nobody understands Lindsey's heart the way his sister does. Understanding someone's heart is not a qualification for the United States Senate. It's a qualification for her to read his eulogy at the funeral. So let's be clear about what happened to all of the MAGA who might see this video. A white woman with zero political experience was handed one of the most powerful offices in the country overnight through personal connection. The exact definition they scream about when it's a black woman with a law degree and 15 years of public service. Nobody's calling Darlene Graham Norton unqualified. Nobody's asking if she earned it, because whiteness has never needed to earn it. This country, whiteness inherits. This is the dichotomy we live inside. DEI was never a policy critique. It was a permission structure, permission to question black competence everywhere it shows up, the permission to never once question white succession, even when it looks exactly like what they claim to hate. Affirmative action for me is a scandal. Affirmative action for you and for them is just a Tuesday in South Carolina. And that, my friend, is why I am exhausted with this country today.
I'm so tired, child. I'm so tired. I'm really tired.
Hey guys, good day. It's Ozzy and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, following the death of Lindsey Graham over the weekend, his sister has been appointed to take over his office until the coming elections. Most people are having a fit over it. They're saying, she doesn't have any qualifications, so she should not be given the position. But then other people are also saying that this is happening because Trump has actually chosen her to take over his place. So keep watching the video and let me see what you think about it.
Lindsey Graham's sister is taking Lindsey Graham's place before his body is in the ground. She didn't get there on her own merit. She wasn't elected. She doesn't have any experience. We don't know if she was high school student council. Nothing. We know nothing about her qualifications outside the fact that she don't have none. This man's sister. His sister. And yet, this administration is responsible for the firing and layoffs of over 600,000 Black women who they said didn't earn it because of DEI rollbacks. You decided that you were going to target Black women through this initiative. You're targeting Black women at the federal level as well as the corporate level, making it harder for many of us to get even basic jobs. And you mean to tell me that you were going to put this man's sister in office after spewing all that hatred for 3 years about how Black people did not earn the positions that they were in, and then you fired them and you laid them off, and now people are struggling. But you put that man's sister in today. And we're supposed to act like we can't see the things that we see. We can't hear the things that we hear. We're watching as this man's sister is about to take his position and his body is not in the ground. But you have people who are overly qualified for positions that they've been applying for months. People have been unemployed for years and they cannot get jobs. Corporations are shaming them for being unemployed and having gaps in their resumes. And you put this man's sister in his position before his body is in the ground with no qualifications. I hope that many corporations look at what this country has done with just this one act and realize how big of a slap in the face this has been to some of your most qualified people in this country, and do something. To every Black woman who has lost their job underneath this administration, understand it has never been you. It has never been your qualifications. It has never been your education. You have done everything right. You have done everything you have been supposed to be doing. This country is corrupt. And those corporations, I really hope that you decide that you make a change, because this is an example of what we have been trying to tell you the whole time. It was never about if we earned it or not. It was if we had the complexion for protection.
In breaking but not at all surprising news, Lindsey Graham's replacement for the Senate has just been appointed. At Donald Trump's request, the governor of South Carolina has officially chosen who is going to replace Lindsey Graham in the Senate until, the next few months for when his Republican primary can go through and they can choose a new person to go against Dr. Annie Andrews, who is the Democratic candidate, and then that election will be in November. But yeah, the temporary, person who has been given that job is Lindsey Graham's sister. Yeah, who has never served public office before, is completely unqualified, completely inexperienced, completely unfit, a DEI hire, you could say. But yeah, it seems that we have really come full circle as America, right? We declared our independence from a monarchy, and now we're applauding becoming a monarchy again. Yeah, so that's what's currently happening. Even conservatives, Republicans, I'm seeing in the comments, are pissed off, being like, "What? This isn't making us look good." Which, buddy, y'all have not looked good for a while, so this is what's doing it for you. That's a whole separate issue, but yeah, wanted to share that little update because what the actual fuck.
And this is why they think DEI means didn't earn it, because the governor appointed Lindsey Graham's sister to his seat as a senator. Lindsey Graham's little sister has never held political office, is not qualified for the position, is not even tied to politics. I don't think she's even run for office. But yet they put her in the senator seat to represent the people of South Carolina, even though they did not choose her. Because people who keep pushing this idea that DEI is for people who didn't earn it, it's because they themselves keep putting people in positions that look like them, that they shouldn't be there for, that they don't have the qualifications for. Hence why there's so many offices across the United States that have unqualified bosses that are driving everyone insane, having meetings on meetings on meetings because they don't know what they're doing. So they're just having meetings to bother everybody all day. This is why voting matters. This is why representation matters. The call is coming from inside the House. It's not people of color that didn't earn it. It's the belief that since we do it, they must not be earning it too. Sorry to be so forward about this, but this is insane. Y'all have a good day.
It's my honor to ask his little sister, Darlene Graham, to finish his work for him now.
It is such a privilege to get to finish some of his important work, and I promise to work hard over the next several months to support the president and carry forward the efforts of my brother on behalf of the citizens of South Carolina and the United States. I think this is what Lindsey would have wanted, and I plan to honor him in this way. Now to Lindsey, I miss you more than I can even put into words, but I'm going to do this. I got it. Thank you.
The sister of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham will replace him following the lawmaker's sudden death over the weekend. But is this allowed? There's actually a long history of family members replacing lawmakers when they die to finish the term. According to the U.S. House of Representatives, 45 widows have directly succeeded their late husbands in Congress. So who is Darlene Graham Nordone? Well, she has never previously held public office, but she has been by her brother's side throughout his political career, and the two share a special relationship. Graham adopted her after both of their parents died when he was 22 and she was 13, and even suggested that she would serve as his first lady if he was elected president. She previously worked to help people with disabilities find jobs. Nordone will serve as the temporary replacement until January of 2027. She has not yet said whether she will campaign for the full 6-year Senate term.
Lindsey Graham died on Saturday. They announced it on Sunday, picked his unqualified sister to replace him on Monday, and swore her in on Tuesday. She hasn't even had time to plan her brother's funeral, and they already got her in office in the U.S. Capitol. Meanwhile, when Representative Sylvester Turner, a black Democrat, died on March 5th, 2025, Texas Governor Greg Abbott waited until April to announce there would be no election to replace him until November, leaving the largely black and Hispanic district here in Houston unrepresented for nearly an entire year. This is how Republicans play politics with death. While Democrats are drafting generous statements of condolences for their oppressors, Republicans are callously seizing power from the oppressed. They pulled the same stunt when Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia died, and they wouldn't even hold a hearing on Obama's nominee, but then raised to replace Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she died in the final months of Trump's term. Republicans demand that Democrats observe all kinds of outdated rules about death and mourning, but then break the same rules when Democrats die. They're doing the same thing in Kentucky with Mitch McConnell in the hospital. When McConnell started glitching a few years ago, his Republican state legislature passed a bill stripping the Democratic governor of the power to replace him. They were fine when a Republican governor had the power, but they changed the rules for a Democrat. That's because the rules themselves are a trap. Democrats have to follow all the rules, but Republicans get to break them with impunity. Just like the rule of meritocracy, Republicans love to whine about affirmative action and DEI, which give opportunities to qualified women and people of color, but they just appointed a U.S. senator whose main qualification is simply being the sister of a dead senator. And you can't say that both parties do it when one party spent the past few decades claiming to only care about merit. They said that Barack Obama and Kamala Harris and Ketanji Brown Jackson were unqualified, but then they sing the praises of people like Herschel Walker, Pete Hegseth, and Donald Trump, who was the first person elected president in U.S. history with no experience in government or military. They whine about Democrats being unfair to Republicans in California and Virginia with redistricting while they steal seats in Texas, Florida, and Missouri. And they started it. That's why Trump tried to change the U.S. Constitution on birthright citizenship by executive order. That's why he just fired all the federal election assistance commissioners, why he's trying to seize ballots and intimidate poll workers, and why he's desperately trying to pass a national voter suppression bill to stop mail-in ballots, which he uses himself. Rules for thee, not for me. That's the Republican model. So let this be a lesson. Stop playing by their rules. Republicans have only one rule: power. Every other rule is negotiable. The old rule book has been burned, and we will be too if we don't wake up.
So this is why white people think that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, means unqualified, because these Mayonesians, Mayonesians do it all the time, and they know someone who has gotten a position that they were not qualified for. So the governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, today, on Monday, appointed the late Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene Graham Nardone, to fill in for him as interim senator until the November elections, but stay in office till January. And if you're like, Ed, she must have some governmental experience, right? No. You would be dead wrong, because not only has she never held office herself, her expertise, as honorable as it is in helping blind people find jobs. But apparently, because her brother Lindsey had always been there for her, now she's going to be there for him, even though this office doesn't serve Lindsey Graham, but serves the people of South Carolina. I also would like to point out real quick that at no point did she also decline the position because, she's unqualified for it, because, the caucasity. So now this woman who has never held any political office, nor do we know any of her political affiliations or her moral compass, is now going to be able to vote on bills and laws that govern us as a whole. So yeah, that's why Mayonesians think that DEI means unqualified, because they keep doing shit like this. Also, remember, white women are the biggest benefactors of DEI.
Hey guys, and welcome back. So if you liked the video, please subscribe, leave a like, and let's see what you think about it in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Have a good day.